What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of 4 Dummies. And tonight I am joined with the other 3 dummies. I have Mrs. Skullface.
Hello.
Mr. Just One.
Yo, what's happening?
And Mr. Robert Detoff.
Hello.
And tonight we are going to be discussing FansToys and some of their kind of almost bully-ish tactics in terms of throwing their weight around in the space due to their their reputation and so on and so forth. If you want the uncut version of this, please feel free to check out Patreon, where you'll get the hour-long discussion of this, which, let's be honest with you, it's not our best, but, still come along. There's other good stuff over there. With that being said, this whole thing for me with them, it goes back a fair ways. So the first, I think, indication of it now, looking back on it, was a Weird Wolf promo image that was used with him cutting the head off of Make Toys Chrome Dome.
Right.
At the time, I'll be honest with you, at the time I thought it was kind of like just all good fun, like all in the space, like we're all having a tongue-in-cheek. We all love these characters. We all know that these guys are, enemies with one another, and this is just having fun at that, right? Our bad guy kicked your good guys, right? And there was other things along the way, but since then, especially in like recent years, some of the stuff that they have done has almost come across a bit slimy. But I am of multiple minds of it. I'm not like standing on one side of the line.
Right. That was kind of their first foray into saying something. And then I think And then I think what you wound up seeing then every year is a company would announce something, and then FansToys would immediately announce their version of the thing, thus crushing all of the pre-order dreams of this original company.
And sometimes when they had no intention of releasing that thing anytime soon. So like
right.
So like the one of that comes to like that springs to mind is the Trailbreaker, right? So MMC, X-Transbots, I think, Bad Cube, they're all in this Trailbreaker thing, and FansToys comes out like, yeah, well, we got one coming too, and then you don't see that thing for probably over 10 years or somewhere close to that.
All right.
Was the Trailbreaker their first one, or was it the Blitzwing?
Oh, I'm not saying it's the first one. I'm just saying
it's the one that was the most
dirty one.
It's not even dirty. Just one. I would say that probably their worst.
I think it's dirty to tease something that you see other people putting out and then takes you 10 years to get it out.
Yeah, so to follow that through, if I was to pick the dirty one, it would be Blitzwing, because that still ain't out, and that was probably 13 years ago now.
Do you think? Go ahead.
Well, just that the other two, X-Transbots and DX9, who were kind of going head to head in that. That was 12 years ago, and I'm throwing numbers around arbitrarily, but that Blitzwing has been. Not only has it not come out, it's been completely redesigned at least twice, if not 3 times, and still shows no sign of coming out.
Even though everybody swears it's getting released this year.
And it may. Weirder things have happened. But
do you think they knew ahead of time that, like, all right, that they, like, let's use that Trailbreaker as an example, that, like, they knew, it's going to be years before we have any intention of even making this? Or do you think that at the time they were like, no, legit, look, we really are making this thing. It's something that we're working on.
So I think that's possible. Sometimes you can tell that the stuff is not far along because you're only getting like CAD images or
the silhouette
or
days,
silhouette back in the day.
Yeah.
Now you can kind of judge it a little bit better. And I want to get to that point, but there is another side to this argument, right? Like, people work hard for their money, and a lot of people are in a space where they're saving up to get the piece that they want. And there's an argument to say, like, look, if FansToys has one coming, I would rather know ahead of time so I don't spend money on the thing that I don't want, or may not want as much as the FansToys.
Right.
There is an argument there.
I think more so too back in the day when pre-orders were released and pre-orders would sell out. So I think there was more of like a urgency to hurry up and put your money down on something because you had a chance of missing out.
Yeah.
And I think that's totally changed now.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that FansToys has kind of done themselves a disservice of like announcing these things and then everybody knowing, now it's like, oh, well, I've got a good 2 years or more before that thing even comes out. So let me go and buy this other company's right now. So at least I have one now. I can always resell it, recoup some of my money. It's like you have time to kind of mess around. So now to me, like, FansToys announcing something isn't as big of a swing as it used to be.
So I think it depends. I think what brought this to mind was this Bingo Toys situation. So
is the Computron thing?
Yep. Last year, Bingo Toys announces a Masterpiece scaled Computron. They have, by this year, looks like 2 or 3 working prototypes. So they're getting ready to launch, right? And FansToys announces a Computron. Now, like, I think it's feasible to think that FansToys has a design for almost everything readily available. But I think if you were to try to convince me that Computron was the next combiner that they wanted to release, I think you'd have a long day trying to convince me of that.
What do you think they would do next?
One of the more popular ones, which is almost every other one. It's the least popular one. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's just so that this other company happened to take this like leap of faith and said, well, nobody's going to do this one.
Yeah.
And then FansToys announces it, and they show off one bot. So I think that the fact that this Strafe, they showed off Strafe and Nose Cone, right? And like Strafe, the robot that's a 3D thing. That's a physical thing. But the alt mode is a CAD. And they would show the alt mode if it transformed and worked. But their prototype isn't that far along. So that means to me that they're getting this ball rolling within the last year.
Right. Like what you guys were saying before, like, it like if it's not such a bad thing if you have it in your cyber inventory, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Let consumers know. But there should be a window, a reasonable window. If you know, or you should know that this isn't coming off of 10 years. Your post is not in good faith. Your publication of the fact that this is coming out is in bad faith because you're depriving collectors of a character they want and misleading them into thinking that anytime soon they can choose your figure over, say, Ditka.
Well, right? I think that you're right in that. In the deprivation of what collectors want, even if they just want to fill a space or whatever. But in the same breath, you're also hurting these other companies, right? And I do think that the third party space is better with more contributing people in it,
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be less interesting if there's just one sort of master key to everything.
Yeah, right. And the master key became... because is it coincidence that as third-party companies kind of, peeled away and the number of reputable companies putting out figures really shrank to a handful? Together with that, we saw tune accurate, simple, plain. And then I'm one of the collectors. I know, you guys are as well. You like to have a little pizzazz. And this almost monopoly on figure production really, affected our enjoyment of it because there's no diversity in production.
But I do think that FansToys, because of the length of time it takes for them to release something from the time they announce it, I do think there is room in this space, even if you're a modest collector and don't have a lot of money, especially now, to buy this one-off thing, to buy these Bingo Toys Computron. You have enough time to buy this set, see how it's going to pan out, and still make a decision on whether or not you sell it or keep it or go to the FansToys. I think that's kind of the avenue that FansToys put themselves in.
But once that FansToys comes out, the value of that Bingo Toys tanks. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that also, if you think about like a lot of companies now when they reveal stuff, we're not like long gone are the silhouette days. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of companies when they reveal stuff now,
they're well underway.
So I think that's also a thing that
they're trying to keep it.
They're trying to like, look, you don't have time to step on this because this is coming soon. And I think that's been a result of trying to pivot from people like FansToys. And I think like in the beginning, this probably dates me. It makes me sound like a dinosaur. But like in the beginning, it kind of seemed like everybody was sort of celebrating everyone, And of course there was little wars along the way with Devastator or whatever. But like for the most part, it kind of seemed like, man, look what Fans Project is doing. Isn't that cool? And look what FansToys is doing. Isn't that cool? And look what Make Toys is doing. Isn't that cool? And now it's like, this sucks. This is what's good. You either get with this or you get, you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of that culture in third party now is a fallout effect of the approach that FansToys has taken. And that's not to say that it's their fault. Do you know what I mean? Like something can be, you can do something and have it cause ripples that you never meant to cause. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think that like a lot of like it went from being like a punk rock thing to like mine is the best and yours is the worst, and right. and it's unfortunate. I think there's definitely been times where I haven't bought something because FansToys has announced it, and I've been like, well, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah.
I don't know what the magic like amount of time would be appropriate to say, like if they could have the toy out in 2 years, is that an okay thing to say, or is it 5 years, right? Or is it 1 year? You know what I mean? Like
1 year to 18 months.
Well, why don't they say it like they do?
They're
coming next summer.
Yeah, their communication is awful. I mean, this dead end is the biggest blotch, obvious blotch in their communication for their career.
It's still ongoing. I agree. I think a year. I think you should have it out within a year of you announcing it.
Mm-hmm. But like I do admire, like if you look at, so X-Transbots announced a G1 styled, masterpiece Devastator, and MMC announced like an all-in-one G1 inspired masterpiece Devastator, and then here comes FansToys throwing their weight in the game. Well, I got a Devastator coming too, and I do like that. I hope anyway with Keith. It's hard to tell with his release schedule these days, which is a whole nother topic. But I do hope that I do like rather that MMC and X-Transbots have seemingly kind of stuck to their guns. Like, look, do what you do, man. We're doing our thing too, and I think that we've done enough things right in certain lanes, right. and where we can have our cater to our own audience here. And I think they're right. I think that there's enough with all three of those companies to justify a purchase depending on what you want.
Do you think it's something along the lines of like, I kind of feel like FansToys being bullies, but also, there was a real good amount of time where FansToys collectors were the biggest.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at with the ripple effect. Is like it's kind of created this, superiority culture in a way of like, but like in the same breath, it's like, my collection, when given the opportunity, I buy mostly FansToys. The only exceptions for me have been that Devastator, because there's no way I would ever buy those Constructicons because I think they look awful, and the Blaster, because I bought the Blaster.
Yeah. But
when I had it, I was like, this just doesn't satisfy me. I don't find this satisfying. I find this soulless, and got rid of it. And have never regretted getting rid of the Blaster. But I think that like there's always the reason why the bully's the bully, right? Like contrary to like what they show you on TV, where like the bully picks on the kid and then the kid decks the bully and then the bully cries. The bully is usually the bully because he will beat your ass.
Right.
And the truth is that FansToys does make a really, really incredible product. Not perfect, and arguably losing traction in certain areas along the way with its contemporaries, specifically like in the articulation department and stuff like that. But like they are good at what they do, so they can kind of afford to be the bully, and have they earned that right? I don't know. It's tricky because it would be one thing if it sucked, but they don't really make stuff that sucks.
Right. Ooh, have they ever fully just missed the mark?
I think that people could point to a couple releases. The Sea Spray, I think, is like the most obvious choice.
That first one.
But the reason why that Sea Spray seems the way it does is because that Sea Spray was announced in one era and released in a transitional era. Yeah. It was announced when you put your own flavor on your designs, but it was released when it has to look like the cartoon or get the out. Had that Sea Spray come out within 6 months of its announcement, it would be looked at differently. But like to get back to Jisk's point, like I've seen where somebody will post a FansToys figure or upcoming FansToys figure, and somebody will comment on it like, not for me, or I think they missed with this one, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And then and the reply to that comment will be like a complete personal attack.
You're an idiot.
to just somebody saying like, I'm not feeling this one.
Yeah.
And it's
that's fair.
Well, yeah, and it's just like that sort of turns this whole thing, and the fact that we allow it as a community turns this whole thing into a mud, like a mud pit.
I do think there is something about FansToys in general that just kind of sparks a reaction from people. People love to be the first person to post their thoughts and opinions on a FansToys figure when it releases. But they don't do that with any other company, or at least I don't see it. But like, X-Transbot, nobody's clamoring to say what they think about the latest X-Transbots Constructicon, but people cannot wait to be like, "Ooh, I got mine. It's great. This was a little tricky." And it's like, I don't know what it is about. Like, it's almost like you have bragging rights because you got this thing first. It's weird. It's weird. They do have a weird presence in the community, and it prompts a weird response out of the people that buy that.
Well, I'm also mindful of it too, because like, I think people hit me up a lot of times with excitement about something. It's like, do you know how many people hit me up when like dead end, like this? I mean, it continues, right? Because FansToys keeps releasing videos about this dead end. So people keep sending me links about this dead end. And like, I have to keep telling people that I don't care about this dead end anymore. And I'm not trying to rain on their parade. They're obviously excited enough about it to want to share it with me. But like, I'm also like, man, I want you to know, just as another person in this community, how the climate of all this shit has made me feel, right. and it has drained that excitement out of me because of how this figure was handled.
Yeah,
because of that poor communication, because of the dragging along without explanation. You don't get information as a consumer, and that should be fatal, but it's not.
Yeah, because they make a good product.
See, I want to see a picture of an actual wiggle room.
I want to see like a student driver just losing their mind.
I want to see driving instructors and a nose cone.
Maybe camping.